How's it going, everyone? Welcome into the coffee break. I'm your host, Hunter Thomas, as always. Super excited to be with you. Going to be a little bit of a shorter episode today. I'm recording this at the end of the day. Probably won't be uploaded until Wednesday because we got delayed a little bit. So we went to the Unchained Conference, Eagles Wings Disc Golf Conference, which is a Christian disc golf conference down in Florida. Trevor and I were the MCs this year. Had an absolute blast down there. I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I mean, let's be straight here, right? You hear Christian Disc Golf Conference, and like that can mean a lot of things, you know. It could have been very cheesy, but it was instead just awesome. It was there's 200 some people there, you know, all disc golfers. Actually, mostly disc golfers. There's some family members, and then a few people that just were there because it was just an awesome conference. And you know, the speakers were phenomenal, and it basically was just like a really solid Christian conference that then also had a disc golf course, and like our free time was more geared around disc golf, if that makes sense. So played a lot of fun rounds down there, got to know a lot of people, make some great friends, and just had a blast. Really looking forward to being back down there next year. I think they're going to make it bigger and better and just keep pushing it forward. So if you don't know about Eagles Wings and that sounds like something that's of interest to you, check out Eagles Wings on like Instagram and all of that. And I think they said by like February, they're already going to start releasing details about next year's conference. So super exciting stuff. But anyways, the conference ran from Friday through Monday. So we were traveling back yesterday. And instead of trying to like rush Grip Locked, our main podcast, and get that out, by like recording it while we were down in Florida or anything like that, we're like, let's just push it back to Tuesday and just let it be. It's the off season. It's not like that pressing of information. And so that's what we did. And so I am not recording this till the end of the day because I recorded Grip Lock at the beginning of the day. So therefore this is probably not coming out until Wednesday instead of Tuesday, which is not something I typically would like to do, but it is what it is. Really, really exciting week this week. So we're officially announcing this tomorrow, but I'm going to announce it to you. Actually, will probably be announced today because, like I said, I'm uploading this late. I was planning on telling you a day early, so just know my heart was good behind that. But we are, as I've been talking about, we're restocking personality discs. So the Hunter Bird's restocking. I believe we should be able to have the Connor Shaman and the Robbie C. Wizards restocking with a new stamp, which is going to be exciting. I believe those will be dropping Friday as well. And then Trevor, originally we were going to drop the Trevor Cash, but we actually were able to get a special disc in earlier. I'm not going to spoil what that is, but we were able to get a special disc in earlier than expected. And so that is actually going to be dropping Friday, and the Cash is going to be pushed back a little bit later. So Trevor Cash restock is coming, but it's for a good reason. You'll understand when like Thursday's video comes out, you'll know what Trevor's disc is. But why are we launching all these personality discs on Friday? What's so big about Friday? Well, we are very stoked. This has been one of the big projects that I've had in the works for a while, and I'm very excited to finally make it happen, which is a full website redesign. Hopefully this also leads to a slight app redesign, but we were talking with our app developer, and essentially I haven't wore a hat in a little bit that's like structured, so it's messing with me because I was wearing a beanie all day today. Anyways, that's beside the point. If you're listening on audio, you're like, what the heck is Hunter talking about? But we work with an app developer, and they kind of just mirror our site. So once the site redesign launches, then we will be able to take some of the extra data and stuff from the site and roll that out, hopefully over the next few weeks, into a slight app redesign as well, which is super exciting. Super, super exciting. So I'm not going to spoil too much about the website redesign because I want you all to go check it out for yourself. But basically, why we're doing it is it's going to allow us to provide a lot more information on a per product basis, and it's going to streamline our backend a lot on how we're able to upload products and where some of the information goes. And really, I think the user experience, both look and actually functionality-wise, for a disc golf website is going to get a lot better. We're going to be able to have a lot of things that some of our competitors have had that we would have liked to have had, while still, I think, delivering enough information that if you need more information about a product, about a disc, you're able to find it, but not providing so much information that you have information overload, and then you're just trying to figure out what to buy and you can't. And so super stoked about that. that's happening Friday. And like I said, I'll probably next week actually run you through what the thought process was behind a lot of decisions we actually made. But Friday. That's what's bothering me is I messed up the bend in my hat. I knew there was something off. Okay. I'm glad I hadn't had a mirror, just got this hat in, and I messed my bend up. And that's what's throwing me all kinds of off because now it feels unbalanced because it is unbalanced. Dumb hunter. Okay. Well, now I have that figured out. I can ignore it. But other than that, really excited about the products that are dropping on Friday. And then you probably saw, maybe you didn't, but Discraft, Brody, and I, and by I mean Foundation, Discraft, Brody, and Foundation, announced basically Brody is still with Discraft for the 2025 season, but the big announcement that involved Foundation was he's moving from the Team Discraft store to Foundation. So all of the Dark Horse product, which is his personal brand, all of those discs and everything, instead of being on Discraft's website, are coming to Foundation's website. So we're really, really excited about that. We haven't been able to run Brody custom stamp discs for a while. We ran the Aceathon Zone this past year as a one-off collaboration. That went really well, and I think Discraft saw that and was like, man, we can really, Foundation can push Brody's brand pretty well, and so we have this opportunity we're really excited about. So we're actually going to be getting all of his product from last year in probably in 2 weeks or so. We will be releasing a new stamp, our first release with Brody and Discraft. Super stoked for that. We actually just got them in, but I'm not going to show you. Can't spoil it. But our first stamp, that'll be releasing very soon. And when that releases, we'll also drop the rest of the discs from last year that we got in, and we're going to discount those. So it'll be like last year's discs are all going to go on discount. That way we can clear some shelf space and clear some Brody brand space for new releases this year and get you all ready for, we have a bunch of fun stuff coming up soon with Brody. So that was another big announcement. So you've heard now two of the four. Website, Brody. There's two more. One of the other two you will find out next week after coffee break. So I won't be able to spoil it next week. But basically, come mid-February, all four are going to be out there. So two of the four are out, Website, Redesign, and Brody. So why do we make the decision? Why do we agree with the Brody thing? I think it just makes a lot of sense. Brody's brand works really well with our brand. Obviously, he's a part owner. He's the other owner of Foundation. And with him not touring as much this upcoming year, he's going to pick and choose his tour stops. He's going to refocus kind of back on content, which is kind of where our brand lives a lot more. So we're going to be able to push the Dark Horse brand. He's going to be pushing the Dark Horse brand, and it just feels like that's going to be the best meshing for everyone. And so I think that Discraft's really excited. We're really excited. And we have some really, really, really cool stuff coming. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but we have some sick stuff with Brody coming very soon. So I think that in the end, it's going to end up just being the best case scenario for everyone. And we're all really, really excited about that and what 2025 has, not just for Foundation, but also for Brody. So that was a really exciting announcement as well. So like I said, big week this past week for Foundation. And going forward, if you have any questions about kind of the behind the scenes, like I said, next week I'll take you through, because I don't want to spoil some of the features for the website. I want you to be able to go over there and experience it for yourself. It's been my personal passion project, so I'm a little too close to it. I have too many emotions, so I'm not ready for the negative feedback I'm about to get, but I know that's going to come. It's fine. I know, because I've messed with the website, I've tested it a bunch. It is just so much more functional for what we're doing than our current website. And it's going to get better when we roll it out. It's not 100%. Like, there's still basically each product, there's certain data that I have to go and recreate and reformat. And so I've done it for all of the most popular discs and stuff, but there's still some smaller brands and smaller discs and stuff that I have to finish up. So it's not going to be, it'll be like 95%, I would say, done Friday. And it's just like, if you go to do certain things with certain discs, you'll just find less information, more or less. But for the big ones, the big boys, all the information is going to be in there. So we're super excited about that. I think it's been a long time coming, and it just matches the look and feel of modern Foundation a little bit more. So very excited for that. And next week, I'll go into more of the details of how it actually worked on the back end, why we decided to do it, when we decided to do it, why we made certain decisions look-wise, experience-wise, why we still aren't doing some things, why we are now doing some things, all of that. But I want you to see it first before I get into all the weeds. So, like I said, it's going to be a shorter show, so I'm going to go ahead right now and jump into the question and answer section. If you aren't following me on Instagram, I just throw up a little story that says questions for coffee break, and y'all send in a bunch of questions, and I answer as many as I can. I actually threw this up a lot later than normal, and I still have a ton of questions to get to here. So let's see here. We'll start with a little off-season movement question here. Justin X Curry said, "Will Isaac be worth the money for Latitude 64?" That one's impossible to answer because we don't know how much they're paying him. I'll answer it more from, is it going to be a good signing? I think that it has potential to be a very good signing. I do think that if they copy the Kristen Tatar model of like how they've marketed her and how their brand feels, it is reliant on Isaac at least being somewhat successful out on the course this year, which he has plenty of potential to be. Obviously, he's the 2-time and reigning world champion. He won Champions Cup a few years back. His game fits certain courses, and he can be deadly when he gets hot. So I think that that's not a far reach to expect him to win some. And if he does win some, I think that it can be a great fit. So potentially, yes, but it's impossible to know without knowing how much they pay him. So Wade's Disc Golf Shop said, "Did you ever expect the success y'all have gotten, or did it start more as fun?" It was like a distant dream, but I never even expected to do Foundation full time. I was fully on a mental track of building a marketing agency and doing freelance graphic design and social media marketing for the rest of my life, and doing that. And Foundation, we've been very blessed that this is what we get to do. Very excited. Titus wants to know, will we be at Music City? We will. We will be at Music City. That is the current plan. We haven't fully committed yet. We still have some phone calls and stuff to work the details out, but we are currently planning on being at Music City, yes. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, this is a good question. Lucas R. McKay said, as someone who's just starting to like coffee, what do you recommend in terms of brews? I'm assuming you mean brewing method. Starting out, I would just get yourself a solid drip coffee maker. I would just start there because then you can at least make coffee without worrying about messing it up. And then your next step would be, if you are just trying to get into specialty coffee, Chemex can be a good entryway into that. V60 is basically the name of a pour over, what's it called? Funnel, more or less, but that's not what it's actually called, but that's what I'm going to go with. That's what I use as a V60. So the V60 is going to be, it's going to like a little bit of lighter roast, but it can handle anything. And then AeroPress is a great time if you're trying to get, a little bit more towards the fruity side, more acidic coffee. I think that's a really good time. If you like just darker roasts and you like the more oily coffee, French press is a great option if that's more the route you like. If you do like acidic coffee and you are paying for specialty coffee, stay away from the French press. But, I think, honestly, a good drip coffee maker can go a long ways because it can be very consistent. You can find what works and just let it ride. And then you can work towards pour overs and stuff like that as you get more into it. But, yeah, hopefully that is what you were asking. James Marty said, favorite part about the Unchained conference this past weekend? I think, the speakers were awesome. There's one in particular in the middle about like discipleship that I think applied a lot to me and convicted me of what I am not doing, I should be doing and stuff. I think that was awesome. Most fun was just playing disc golf for fun with just some awesome people. Had a blast. We got to play 2 rounds. One was triples, one was collegiate doubles. Really enjoyed that. I also had a blast playing like Dutch Blitz and beach volleyball and glow disc golf. It's just fun being around a bunch of like-minded people. Plamondon said, how come the new episode of Grip Lock isn't on Spotify yet? It is now. You're welcome. Got it up for you. It wasn't because we didn't film it yesterday. This one I actually didn't get to cover on Grip Lock. Brad Bob DG said, what do you think of Rathbun on Prodigy? I think that can work well. Gavin Rathbun has a lot of potential. He was obviously the comeback player of the year last year, coming off of injury. He has played very well in the past, and I think he could do well with Prodigy. So I'm excited to see. How it works, how he does. But I think he could definitely perform well. Jaron Baltus says, have you ever filmed a video and after the round be like, yeah, let's not post that one? I don't think we've ever gotten all the way through a video. We've pivoted in the middle of videos before. We've thought through a video and wanted to film it and then talked ourselves out of filming it before. But I don't think we've necessarily fully filmed a video, got to the end and said yeah, we're not publishing this one. So Ephraim Boyd said, when building a brand/business, what is more important, personality or niche? This is an interesting question. I think personality is gonna reign supreme in pretty much every case. Niche is important as far as you gotta have one. Because if you just make the everything store like Walmart, basically, then you're competing with everyone at everything. And even Walmart niched down of they were providing everyday low prices and they were undercutting when they started out. Sam Walton, I believe actually worked at the Ben Franklin 5 and Dime and pitched them on what was the Kmart model then. I believe it was Kmart. And when they turned him down, he turned it into Walmart. So even they had something that set them apart. But when you're actually worrying about building a brand, the personality is, I was actually reading a book called Brand It Like Serhant, and in it he's talking about how people connect with people and people connect with personalities. People don't connect with businesses. So it's the brand voice, the face of the business, the people you use to represent your business. That is what people connect with. So if that's you, if you're the face of your business, you're the personality behind your business, and that is what's going to help people connect. People aren't just going to connect with, when you look at my beanie here that says North Face, you have a certain feel about that, similar to a friend, right? Maybe you dislike him, so maybe it's an ex-friend. Maybe there's something that's rubbed you the wrong way, or maybe you absolutely love it. But regardless, we're emotional people, and we're based on we were built for community and built for relationships. So that's still how we perceive brands. So I would say overall personality is more important when building a brand, but knowing your niche is also very, very important. It's Bailey said, do you still own Atlas and DiscDot? And if you do, how are those companies coming along? We definitely I still own Atlas. It's myself, Trevor, Brody, and Brad. And Atlas, I believe, still owns DiscDot. I don't think we really do much with DiscDot currently. We had to just kind of refocus back in on Atlas, but Atlas is doing great. We just dropped some new colorways of our Atlas Pioneer V4. We're working on 2 different bags that hopefully are coming soon-ish. And obviously we'll keep restocking the V4 with all the colorways and stuff. So Atlas is going great. The goal with Atlas is basically to cut out all of the excess stuff that you didn't need in a bag and just provide you the best bag for the lowest price possible. And we did that with our middle of the road bag, the Pioneer. And we hope to do that with these next few bags we're bringing as well, where we can just make a bag that gives you everything you need and nothing that you don't. So really excited for that. Up and Down Disc Golf says, what's inspiring you currently? Right now I'm fired up just from this conference I just went to, the Unchained conference. I know I've talked about it a bunch on here, but obviously I just went to it. So fired up from that. And I just, it gets inspiring when, for me as a content creator, especially a Christian content creator, going there and feeling the impact that our content can have, and hearing people's stories of why they like watching us and what it's done for them and stuff, which that wasn't the reason we went, obviously. But when you're around a bunch of people who happen to also watch Foundation's content, I think that can be inspiring and fire you up of it is working. We should keep doing this. So, yeah, really excited. Okay, we're going to go, we'll go 3 more. We'll go 3 more because these 3 I should be able to get through. First, Ben said, did Gannon go to the Unchained conference? He did not this year. I think it's because it was the same weekend as the Memorial, so he ended up playing the Memorial. But there was a lot of, Sullivan Tipton was there, Evan Smith, Silas Schultz, Justin Rozak, Luke Taylor, Micah Groth was there, Cal Longquist, bunch of players there. Backwoods Backpacker said, as a retailer, how do you decide how many discs to order from manufacturers? At this point, we know our audience pretty well. Our goal is always, we don't want to get stuck with dead inventory. If you have discs sitting on the shelf that are years old, that's just, it could be money that's being put into stuff that's not going to sit. You know what I'm saying? So we try to order an amount that is good enough to fill demand, where if someone really wants one, they're going to get one, but not so much that it's going to sit. And I think that honestly is what's helped us weather a lot of storms, is we don't over order. So how we decide that is basically just based on buying trends, how much hype we see. We're very in touch with social media, and that really helps us understand how excited people are for certain moves and therefore certain discs, how much a certain plastic or certain mold release is being looked for, so on and so forth. So that's kind of how we decide. And then stock discs, we decide based on past purchase history. You know, if you bought 20 Thunderbirds and those 20 Thunderbirds lasted you 2 weeks, well, we're going to next time buy 40 Thunderbirds, and that should hopefully last us a month, you know, and so on and so forth. So we'll use for stock stuff that's not going to change past purchase history to restock and know how much to keep in stock. But for drops, that's what we do. Final one, Birdie Bogey DG said, advice on starting a local tournament. Tournaments are honestly way more intimidating to run than they actually are. Like, they seem way more of an intimidating undertaking than they actually end up being. So my advice would get connected with your local Parks and Rec, your local club. Maybe if you do have people running local tournaments, try to be an assistant TD first and kind of watch it happen. If not, the PDGA has a bunch of useful training and documents that explain everything you need to know, all the like tour standards and all that stuff. So read up on that, approach your local Parks and Rec, figure out what they require, and then go from there. Companies provide very easy player packs. We do player pack and payout if you ever want help from us, but you can get like players packs deals from Discraft, Prodigy. Everyone does stuff like that. So it seems way more intimidating than it actually is. Most of the work actually happens before the tournament, and then when tournament starts, it just kind of runs itself at this point. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. If not, if you have specific questions, just shoot me an email, hunter@foundationdisc.com, and I'm happy to help out. So like I said, shorter episode this week, rushed through it a little bit, but I wanted to make sure I was able to get it out Wednesday morning. I have a bunch of stuff going on tomorrow morning, so I wanted to make sure I got this taken care of for you. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you check out the website, foundationdisc.com. The new design is going to launch 5 p.m. on Friday. Check that out, and then next week I will walk through why we made decisions we made. I'll probably show you some of the site and explain how it works on the back end and all that fun stuff. So you're not going to miss it. I'll talk to you then.